Good night, America. It's time for your news by the numbers, and tonight's number is 5 billion. According to the United Nations, water shortage will put 5 billion people at risk by the year 2050. Today, almost half the world's population, 3.6 billion to be precise, currently live in areas that are vulnerable to water shortages. Leading scientists have cited climate change, pollution, and increased demand as the primary cause for the diminishing water supply. America, this is a really big issue. Now, this report also states in it that increased conflicts and threats to human civilization, unless action is taken to alleviate the stresses in these areas, we could have a real big problem. And now, this is one of these things that have been looming for quite some time, right? We have spent a lot of time, I think, on this show, and a lot of folks in the silence, not in the main headline, not in the headlines, right? It's not, you know, porn star Sue's president, which has been the main headlines of the day. But this has been a story that has sort of we've been talking about for about a decade. Water shortage globally. And now we're starting to see the first real impacts of it. In the next coming ones, Cape Town, South Africa will have their first 0 day, which is a day where there will be no water coming from the pipes. Yes, indeed, America, it is true. In Cape Town, residents of the city will have to line up and they will have to get their supply of water for the day. I want to say it's 13.6 gallons to be precise. And that's all the water they will have for the day. To take a shower, to flush the toilet, to drink. And this is a big problem. Let me give you some more stats on this because I think it's important that you understand this. Around 700 million people live in 43 countries suffering from water scarcity currently. And this is a lot of these countries are in sub-Saharan Africa. Some of them are in Asia. Some of them are even here in the Western Hemisphere. I mean, we do have a pending water shortage taking place in the state of California. I remember living in Florida when they also had a water shortage because Lake Okeechobee was drained to the point of almost disaster, and we could only water our lawns on certain days of the week. But this is a real big issue. People are joking about it. People aren't talking about it. But this is an issue about life or death. Let's take a listen to Anthony Thornton, who's a scarcity expert, talk about this problem.
Water is not a finite resource. It is an infinitely renewable resource. We actually don't have a water problem. We have a pollution problem or a salt problem. Or we have a problem about water at the wrong time, the wrong place, too far, too dirty. That's the problem. So we must reframe the problem. And we need this new paradigm of abundance.
Now, allow me to be really pretty clear on this. It's not that we don't have enough water. We actually do have enough water. The problem is, because of global warming, climate change, and pollution, a lot of that water is not drinkable. A lot of the lakes and rivers, the mighty rivers that we have in this country and around the world, have been polluted by, whether it's by fracking, whether it's by factory emissions, whether it's by human waste, so on and so forth. A lot of these lakes and rivers that we have it's not drinkable water. Remember the case of Flint, Michigan? Right, we talk about the show on nauseam, right, where they switched their water supply from the Huron Lake Huron to the Flint River, and the Flint River water was disgusting, and that water basically stripped the pipes of the lead protective coating, and thus lead poisoned the people of Flint. So it's not that we don't have enough water. The problem is the water that we do have, we're not good stewards of that water globally. We pollute it like it's going out of style. And to bring this all full circle, when President Trump took office and he rolled back all these job-killing regulations, some of those regulations were put in place to make sure that our water is safe. So yes, Mr. President, some of these regulations cost people jobs because you couldn't frack in certain parts of the country. But there was a greater good for a greater number of people by closing down that factory. You see, by closing down that factory and stopping that fracking from taking place, what you allowed to happen was for this water supply to clean itself, right? And the cleaner the water supply allowed more folks to drink from it. So yes, you shut a factory down, but or yes, you shut a coal mine down, or yes, you shut a fracking mine down, but in exchange for shutting that fracking mine or coal mine or factory down, you created clean water for millions and millions and millions of people. We have got to be very careful, America, and the world for that matter, of what we do over the next coming decades. We have lived on planet Earth for centuries, and as we got more industrialized as a globe, we have taken for granted Mother Earth and the benefits that Mother Earth gives to us each and every day. And one of those benefits is clean water to drink. Okay? That's one of the major benefits. But we have taken it for granted and we've used it for everything else. We've used it to frack. We've used it to pump, we pumped oil into it. And all these things are now going to have consequences on whether or not we live or whether or not we die. So it's about damn time that we put aside this ideal of profits and start thinking about our own well-being.